Welcome to the third-party Transformer news for Retro Robot Radio for the date of June 27th, 2015. Alright, we have a little news this week. FansProject, we got these thumbnail images of two of their upcoming releases. The Function X8 Crocs is their version of the Headmaster Skull Cruncher. We saw this tease at a TFCon quite some time ago, both in this color and in the Optimus Prime color, so it looks like this is going to be the Skull Cruncher color version. I still am interested in them if they ever did it as Optimus Prime as well. So that'll be coming out soon. And also we have Function XV Knight. Now this is a recolor of their Function XV Mad Law figure. Instead of being in the Quick Switch colors, these are in 6 Knight from the Transformers Master Force TV series. And a lot more interest to me if you are a Master Force collector like I am. GCreation released the renders of their upcoming Dinobot Combiner figure. I think we've seen like 1 or 2 of the legs all released already, but now we get to see the whole combined mode. It looks pretty good. And there's another image of it, depending on how you want to put it together. And it does look kind of interesting. This one's a pretty big combiner, as I recall. It's probably the biggest of them so far that we've seen for Dinobot combiners. And, yeah, it's pretty interesting. It gives a bit of a Predaking look to him, doesn't he? Maketoys released the package images of their soon-to-be-released Cupola figure, who's their masterpiece Chrome Dome. This figure will come with a pair of guns and a transforming head. Also, the vehicle mode will open up and seat 2 Headmaster figures from their line. Looks like there will be a little tech spec readout meter in the chest as well. I'm not sure if it's a functioning meter or if it's just a sticker underneath, but it's kind of interesting that they're doing that. This little promo image came out from Megasteel showing off how solid their figure is. The leader class Combiner Wars Megatron on the other side of the scale. This guy is much heavier than that, even though he's just a Voyager-sized figure. And here he is compared to 2 old Hasbro Classic Voyagers. Yes, he's that thick and full of plastic and die-cast that he is heavier than 2 Hasbro Voyagers, or 1 liter. Play With This 2 released another render image of their upcoming Boneyard figure. They also released some information on their upcoming Kickstarter and the figures that they're coming behind it. According to them, there will be a total of 8 figures available in their Kickstarter. Boneyard here is one of them, and there will be several repaints, 3 of the repaints of Boneyard in that. We know of one called Rectifier, who's in Triptychon colors, and one of called Wastelander, who is in Dinobot colors, Beast Wars Dinobot, from their old artwork. So those are probably 2 we'd see, but I have no idea who the 4th one would be. They've also said that the other 4 figures for the Kickstarter would be based on the Jetstrike mold, that's Pretender Starscream, and there would be 3 recolors of that, which we actually know of 4 different recolors of Pretender Starscream. There's a guy named Cloudstrike, who is Skywarp, a guy named Fast Strike, who is Thundercracker, a guy named Flare Strike, who is Sunstorm, and a Stormstrike, who is Slipstream, that has a female head on the figure. Some other information about their upcoming Kickstarter, as we've learned that Boneyard and Jetstrike have been redesigned a bit so that they share some common parts, keeping the pricing down. The Kickstarter itself will probably start this fall or early in next year. They've said that they are not going to be releasing any of the stretch goals initially, only revealing them when they get to about 75% funding. Therefore, they can keep people focused on the figures that are actually available. Their tech drone figures, who you don't see in any of these illustrations they've released recently, are being redesigned. I'm guessing they will be a bit more complex instead of the simple peg-together figures that we saw in the last Kickstarter. They are going to be stretch goals, most likely, in the Kickstarter instead of being in the initial run, which hopefully that'll keep the cost of the figures down at first. And they have also said that the pricing structure of the new Kickstarter will be much simpler than the pricing on the old one. The old one had all these different bundles with different names that came to different amounts depending on which figures you bought. And a lot of people complained they didn't know what they were going to get, or they didn't want to get certain figures. This new Kickstarter will have a price structure of pick one figure, this is how much it costs. Pick two figures, this is how much it costs. Pick three figures, this is how much it costs. So you just need to know how many figures you want, and it tells you the cost. They also released some information about other figures on the message boards that they've been talking about. They said that the Anchor and Mainsail figure, which is their version of Diver and Max Ray from the Centurions, is being redesigned to use a couple of Boneyard and Jet Strikes parts so that it will be a possible future release after this Kickstarter is over. And also the Desolator Buck, which isn't part of this Kickstarter for now, is being redesigned at the joints to give it a bit more articulation. So if you are interested in that one and were worried about how much the knees and elbows can move, they are making it to have wider movement range, which is kind of nice. Warbotron released this image of their upcoming figure called Master. This is a part of their Technobots combiner, oddly enough. It's a model kit, going to be selling for about $30, and it is transforming from robot to robot dinosaur. Comes with a sword and a rifle, and yeah, it's pretty much G1 Grimlock. Looks to be about a Scout to Deluxe class figure, and this is part of their Technobots combiner, because if you remember in the old TV series, Grimlock was involved with the creation of the Technobots, so he's the little added sixth figure for that team. We also have some final product images of their version of Lightspeed, who is looking pretty good. It's a bit more complicated than I wanted him to be, but maybe you'll like him. We also have some updated news from X-Transbots on their Hatch and Boost figures. We've seen some test shots of the vehicle mode compared to the Masterpiece Bumblebee. As you can see, it's a bit bigger than Masterpiece Bumblebee, and I think this one is, I think that's Boost, which is Windcharger, but I'm not quite sure. And it seems like it comes with two pistols from the looks of things. We have some feedback since the last episode. Eric Hawk wrote that he wanted to know how they're ripping off FansProject when Hasbro's making a Legends class Shockwave toy. Well, what I'm referring to is that Justitoys, FansProject, and Warbotron have all released little Shockwave guns to go with their different Bruticus's, and now Hasbro has picked that up as well. Yes, I realize it's based on a TV show episode, but it's something third parties have made 3 times now, and finally Hasbro's doing it. Yinin Mai writes that he totally agreed about the Masterpiece Ironhide. The Takara one is not perfect, but everyone will get it. It's not a question as to whether or not the second one from TFC or Voodoo is any good. Yeah, basically, I think a lot of people are going to end up getting the official one just because it exists. Any third-party one, even if it was equal in quality, would not end up being bought. It'd have to blow the other one out of the water, and I'm not sure that any of the other them will. Jewish Man writes, it's a great show. Her wish list, he'd like a third-party trailer add-on for Combiner Wars Optimus Prime, or Power Master Op-type trailer for him. Also a white Combiner Wars Optimus Prime Magnus. Yeah, okay. Third-party letdown segment. He's very sad that Transforming Toys War for Cybertron figure left so much off at the last minute. The lack of a trailer really kills the upgrade. Yep, I think it does. I think unfortunately they found out that it was just going to cost too much to make and they wouldn't have made any sales without cutting all the extras off. But then the show is not really worth getting without the extras. Tricon40 writes, I would pay money to have a mystery machine-based Transformer, and hell yes, Windcharger, Sideswipe, and Jazz Combiner Wars figures. I think someone needs to make that. If Hasbro doesn't do it, the club needs to figure out if they can somehow squeeze in a Windcharger, Sideswipe, and Jazz. Rabbits272 says that he likes the Combiner Wars Skylinks, but it leaves a bit to be desired. He does hope that the Machine Boy third-party Skylinks is better. Maybe he also would like to have a better tail on it. Super Pharmacron says that he loves the show. Whoever is disliking must be a GoBots fan. To which I told him, you know what, I'm a GoBots fan. But yeah, somebody likes to hit the dislike on this every week. And hey, that's their opinion. Stormrider X writes, let's the Devi Wars begin. Will any of the companies be brave enough to show us the backside of the reflector in alt mode? Well, I showed him a backside picture of the Maketoys visualizer. He also writes that, is the G1 painted Sever worth an extra $25? Well, that's really up to you. Stormrider X writes that the Combiner Wars Skylinks is an easy pass. Machine Boy Skylinks, tell us more. He also didn't recognize one of the Ironhides in my slide that had all the various different Ironhides in it. Machine Boy Skylinks, that's a figure that was teased about a year ago, but we haven't heard anything about them since. But I know Machine Boy as a company still producing stuff, so maybe they'll eventually make it. Also, the Ironhide he didn't recognize was the one put together by TFC Toys. Dinobot Maximize wrote a lot of great stuff. A couple of things I want to ask and speak about. Do you like the Hegemon Orion set? I'm a big fan of the comics, and yeah, okay, well, I honestly am not planning on getting the Hegemon Orion kit, and I don't like the paint on either one of them because I've always felt that the Marvel Comics screwed up the colors on these figures, and now they're just matching them. But if you're a fan of the Marvel Comics colors, they might be worth getting. On the Combiner Wars Blastoff, he was surprised they used the mold instead of remolding Alpha Bravo. Figure could have been remolded on the tail end to make it into a Blastoff. Yeah, it could have. I think a lot of people have been saying that. He also writes, what the F is that Buzzsaw figure? You know what? I've been thinking about that, and it's possible that the weird-looking Buzzsaw figure, looking at those wings, they look like legs. I wonder if it's possible that they made Buzzsaw into half of a cassette combiner. Maybe like Rumble on top and Buzzsaw on the bottom in pants mode. It's a possibility. He says that he agrees that the Combiner Wars figure need upgrades. Don't forget they did make a Legends Windcharger. Yes, they did make Legends Windcharger, but we need a deluxe Windcharger so we can do the Masquerade episode. And he also writes, lastly, I just want to say it's getting kind of crazy with all the repaints of the Combiner Wars molds. You know what? I agree there's lots of repaints, but I don't have a problem with it because you just buy the ones you like and skip the ones you don't. It's always good to have lots of choices. Oribas writes that the Swindle needs a third-party head. Okay. Joseph Newsstand writes, definitely getting the Takara version. It disappointed me at first that they're fixed. Okay, I think he's talking about the Devastator version, the version from Takara having all the things fixed on it. Yeah. He was disappointed that the Hasbro people left it out. And Jorstman writes, what's up with the WB-03F Grimlock? Which I told him that that's something from the cartoon. Grimlock was involved with the origin of the Technobots on the TV show. So that's why a mini little Grimlock kit goes with the Technobot set from Warbotron. Since last week's show, I posted 2 new videos on the YouTube channel. Both are commercials for the Pretender Transformers from 1989. The difference between them is one is the Pretenders commercial by Hasbro, and one is the Pretenders commercial by Takara. Essentially commercials for the same product line, but they're very different. You might want to check out how different Hasbro and Takara were with the exact same toys. This week's screen capture is of the Scout in a Can robot from the 1990 sci-fi comedy Spaced Invaders. By the way, you might want to check that movie out sometime, because one of the characters, Mr. Klembecker, was played by Transformers voice actor Greg Berger, the voice of Grimlock, Long Haul, Outback, and Skyfire in the original Transformers TV series. This week's news brought to you from the pages of tformers.com and TFW 2005. News read by Matthew Ignash. Stop by wikialpha.org to read more about third-party Transformers. Check out the Facebook page of the third-party TF Crashers. And then come on by the Retro Robot Radio YouTube channel and subscribe.